Welcome to this Mangold tutorial explaining the lexical coding mode in Mangold INTERACT. In this tutorial, we'll look at the advantages of post-hoc coding. This coding mode allows us to log all events with the spacebar while simultaneously controlling the current media files. It also enables us to assign multiple codes to describe a single event, which offers the opportunity to add any number of modifiers per behavioral event. We assume you're already somewhat familiar with the general process of logging events in Interact. To use this post-hoc type of coding, we need to activate the lexical coding mode in Interact's observation settings right here. As the hint explains, this method assumes that the duration of an event is defined first. Only afterward do we decide which code, or codes, best describe that event. This coding mode was designed to log a continuous string of sequential events using only the spacebar to log all start and end times, without needing to look ahead. Sounds too good to be true? Let's take a look. We'll start by examining the available options for this coding mode. When switching coding modes, notice that the options in this area change accordingly. You can adjust these options to your liking, but in our experience, the default settings work well in most situations. With these settings, pressing the spacebar automatically starts the currently open media files. At the same time, Interact logs the corresponding start and end times sequentially, starting with the next frame in a new event line. When an event ends, the media files are automatically paused. That gives us plenty of time to decide which code, or codes, best describe the time segment, including the possibility of replaying the event we just logged. To prevent mistakes, we'll activate the option that prevents users from logging event times directly with a code instead of the spacebar. Experienced users might want to mix the spacebar method with code-specific keys to speed up the coding process, but we won't get into that in this tutorial. The section about handling empty events can also be important, depending on how you use the spacebar. For now, we'll leave it set to confirm, so I can demonstrate the effect of this option later. Once the observation settings are defined, we can start using this rather laid-back way of logging events. Assuming a media file is already open and some codes are already defined, simply click the green Start Observation button to activate Interact's observation mode. This small set of easy-to-understand demo codes can be used to code a discussion between two subjects, capturing who said what, the type of utterance, and its focus. To be honest, the codes themselves do not really matter. It all depends on the logic behind them. So instead, try to think about the wording used in your setup. Let's get started. Pressing the spacebar, which is the same as clicking this Start New Event button, which I will use instead, automatically plays the current media file or files. At the same time, a new event line appears with the corresponding start time. You see? Pressing the spacebar again automatically pauses all media files and at the same time closes the event by logging its end time. Now, we can decide what code and corresponding modifiers best describe the time segment we just logged. If needed, we can replay the event, either by double-clicking the number in front of the event line, clicking the Play Current Event button, or by pressing the shortcut for playing the currently selected event, F12 by default. This allows you to review the situation as often as necessary before deciding on the correct code or codes. By the way, and this is really important, to enter multiple codes within a single event, the applied codes must belong to different classes. Clicking another code from the same class will automatically overwrite the previous entry for that class. But when selecting a code from a different class, Interact adds it to an additional class column in the same event line. Like this. Now, let's look at what happens if we press the spacebar several times without assigning any codes. In that case, Interact creates empty event lines with time information. But the moment we select a code, a dialog appears asking how we want to handle those previously logged empty events. This happens because we activated the Confirm option in the observation settings, remember? If we click Cancel, the empty events remain unchanged. In many situations, that's perfectly fine. But sometimes the user expects something different. Hence, the different options. To keep only the last event, click Remove. In that case, or earlier, still empty event lines will be deleted. But if the spacebar was used mainly to position the recording, you might expect the new code to cover the time from the start of the first empty event to the end of the last one, which is usually the current playback position. In that case, the Include option is the right choice. This will merge the empty events into a single event, using the start time of the first empty event and the end time of the last event. See? If you notice over time that you always choose the same option and find the dialog annoying, you may want to change the handle empty event setting in the observation settings. That way, the dialog will no longer appear and the selected action is executed automatically. In summary, when using the lexical coding mode, all events are logged using the spacebar, and there's no need to anticipate what exactly will happen next because the codes are logged afterward while the video pauses. This is ideal for situations where the true scope of the detected behavior only becomes apparent during an event. Did we promise too much, or is this post-hoc type of coding in Interact indeed more relaxed, even though it allows us to enter multiple codes per event? Now let's take a closer look at some of the characteristics of events and codes logged this way. First, it's important to understand that when multiple codes are entered within the same event, all those codes share the exact same time information. That makes the lexical coding mode ideal for describing something like an utterance in a discussion or teaching situation. However, it's probably less suitable for logging multiple variables that describe, for example, something as complex as a gesture in detail. In case of utterance-based coding, all codes naturally share the same time span because the utterance defines the duration. At the same time, the variables for speaker, topic, or tone are unlikely to change within a single utterance. The different aspects of a gesture, like direction, speed, and steadiness, may look like a typical lexical string of codes, but any of these variables may change during a single gesture. Because of that, using the lexical coding mode to capture everything in detail means creating a new event for every small change. So you end up entering the same codes again and again, whenever a single variable changes. Interact offers a more suitable method for that type of observation, as described in the help file. Second, when looking at the statistics, as explained in the descriptive statistics tutorial, statistics in Interact are always calculated per class. But what if you need statistics on specific code combinations? Well, there are, of course, several options for obtaining those as well, although they are not part of this tutorial. How to build a hierarchical coding system to describe events or time segments with multi-level, interdependent codes or modifiers will be covered in a separate tutorial. Meanwhile, search for lexical chains in the documentation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. We are happy to speed up your research, so watch our other videos to learn more.